last class, we have discussed about the pointer arithmetic. Okay, that what are the different operations, mathematical operations like subtraction, addition, division, multiplication, then comparison. So among these operators, which are valid in case of two pointer variables. So that is called the pointer arithmetic. Okay. Then we have seen how to convert one array element in a form of pointer. That is for 1D array. And if I convert one 2D array into pointer representation, then how it is represented and why two different stars are coming. So we have discussed all about this in the last class. Now today we will start with, although I have told that today I will start with string, but before going to string, I want to discuss few more things about this pointer, and then we will move to string, array of characters. Okay, so few more things about pointer I like to discuss. The first thing is, we already know that the use of pointer is to return more than one value from a function. If you want to perform this thing, means if you want to return more than one value from a function, then we will go for pointer. Actually, we will go for call by address. Okay, we will go for call by address. And the next, another important application of pointer is for dynamic memory allocation. For dynamic memory allocation, we need pointer. Okay, without pointer it is not possible. Now why without pointer it is not possible? Just remember that the dynamic memory allocation means, I have already told, but just a brush up. So dynamic memory allocation means memory allocated at the runtime of a C program. When you are running a C program, at that time, if we allocate some memory, then it is called runtime memory allocation or dynamic memory allocation. So dynamic or runtime, both terminologies are used for this type of memory allocation. Now there is one basic difference between this runtime and dynamic and static. Static also called compile time. Static memory allocation, also called compile time memory allocation. And in C language, array is created as a form of static memory allocation. Okay. Now there is another very interesting difference between the static memory allocation and dynamic memory allocation. Just if you know, then better. If you don't know, then that is also better. Okay, so static memory allocation means the memory will be allocated at stack. And dynamic memory allocation means memory will be allocated at heap. Okay, now remember, in data structure there is one thing called heap sort, or you can say heap tree. So this heap and this heap memory are not same. Remember this heap sort or heap tree is not same as heap memory. Now, to understand these things, what is the meaning of static and what is the meaning of dynamic? Actually, when we write a C program, and we save it at, suppose the name is abc.c, we save a program in our editor, then this program will occupy some memory in our RAM. Remember this, some memory in our RAM. And for a particular C program, compiler already defined some memory locations, some specific memory locations, and those memories are divided into some parts. One part of the memory, so this is the RAM memory, which is for C program, which is allocated by C compiler. Among our RAM memory, some portion of the RAM memory is occupied for a C program when we run a C program. And the memory is divided in such a way, see, one portion of the memory is called stack. Okay. Another portion of the memory is called constant. Okay. Another portion of the memory is called static. Remember these things, static. Okay. Another portion of the memory is called heap. Okay. And there is another part of the memory which is for storing the code. Okay. So these are the memory division for a particular C program. So whenever you write a C program, you remember it will allocate some memory in the RAM. Now, whatever variables you declare, suppose you declare some variables, so those local variables, array, all these things are allocated in stack. Okay. Now suppose you declare one variable as a constant. We know that constant int a equal to 5. It means the value of this variable cannot be modified. This particular variable will be allocated into this memory location. If you declared any variable as a static, okay, the static variable is very useful in case of recursive function. Okay, static integer x, suppose I declared one variable. This variable will be allocated in the static memory position. If you allocate any memory for runtime, then it will be allocated in the heap memory. These are, you have written some code, it will create some exe file, all those things will be allocated in this memory location. So this is the total memory division. So this is the total memory division of a C program, okay, in RAM. Whatever normal variable, suppose I declared int a, b, c, you can check it. How? Suppose you have declared 3 integer variables a, b, c. Okay. Now if you print the address of a, address of b, and address of c, you will be surprised by seeing the address values. How? In normal situation, what you will think, if address of A is say 100, then the address of B will be 102, considering integer as 2 bytes. Okay. Then the address of C will be 104, correct? This is our normal assumption, that if A is stored in 100 location, then B will be at 102. It means our location must be like this. This is for A 100. After the end of A, there is B, which will start from 102. After B, the start of C, which will be 104. So if we print the address, I will be, or we will be surprised by seeing the values. The values will be like this. The values will be like this. Why this is happening? Because the address is allocated in stack. So this is stack. Suppose this is stack. So this is for A. The address is 100. Now the next variable will be allocated in this position, which is 98. C will be allocated in, because stack is having only one entry point, and the same end will be used at exit point. Okay, and we called last in first out. So that's why when we allocate the first element, it will be allocated at the end, then the next. So that's why you will see that the address value for A, B, C will be continuously decreasing. But our normal assumption is it should be increasing, but we will see that the address is decreasing. So from that we can understood that the memory for this local variables are stored in stack. Okay, and if you check the address of a runtime memory, you will see the address range is different. They are not same. Constant variable will be allocated in this. So this is the total memory allocation picture in case of a C program. Okay, now we have already understood that dynamic memory allocation means memory will be allocated at runtime, and runtime only heap memory can be allocated. Logic clear? Okay, so now to do this, to perform this dynamic memory allocation in C language, there are some functions. It is not done normally. We cannot allocate memory at runtime, but using some function we can allocate memory at runtime, and those functions are, one is malloc and another is calloc. And those who already know malloc calloc, they will also know that what is the basic difference and why which one is preferred. So there are two different functions, malloc and calloc, which will be used for dynamic memory allocation. That means memory will be allocated at runtime from heap memory. For that purpose, this two malloc and calloc function is used. Okay. Now the syntax of malloc is like this. It will return one void pointer. Okay. Then malloc, the function name, then the size of the memory that you want to allocate. Okay. Now the structure of calloc is void star calloc. Okay, and in case of calloc, there are two arguments. The first argument is number of elements. Okay, number of elements, and the second argument is size of each element. Okay, so this is the basic difference between malloc and calloc. So here in case of malloc, size in bytes. Okay, so this is the two different dynamic memory allocation function which are used in case of dynamic memory allocation for our C language, malloc and calloc. Okay, now both return void star. What do you mean by void star? The meaning is malloc. What is the purpose of malloc? The purpose of malloc is allocate some memory in heap and return the starting address. Logic clear? So this is the task of a malloc or calloc function. For any dynamic memory allocation function, this is the task. Allocate some memory and return the starting address. So since it is returning some starting address, it will be stored in a pointer variable. That's why it is star. That's why it is returning star. Now why void? Because when we are allocating memory for malloc, it is not known by malloc that whether it is for integer or float or character. That's why it returned void pointer, so that we have already discussed void pointer, so that we can easily typecast it to our required data type. Okay, that's why malloc returned void star and calloc returned void star. So actually it is returning the starting address of the allocated memory. So if I write for malloc, if I write malloc, then I have to give some size. Suppose I am giving, say, 10 into size of integer. It means size of integer is 2, then into 10, so it means 20 bytes. It means 20 bytes. So this malloc function will allocate 20 bytes memory. This is the 20 bytes memory. It will allocate 20 bytes memory, and then suppose the base address is 100, so it will return the base address. Since it is returning something, so I have to store it some variable. And since it is returning what? It is returning the base address or starting address. So obviously this variable must be a pointer variable. So this is the use of pointer variable. So you have to store it in a pointer variable. Because why? Because malloc and calloc is returning the base address. I have discussed in the function class that whenever a function returns something, I have to store the value in a variable which is having same type. So here also, if I am returning some value, and this is nothing but the address, so I have to store it in a variable p. So I have to declare it as void star p. Then we can easily write p equal to malloc, okay, then 10 into size of integer. Okay, I can write it easily. But since in case of void pointer, I also discussed that in case of void pointer, it is very difficult to access the value. You have to typecast it. Then you have to means, if p is a void pointer, if I want to access some value, integer value using this void pointer, then first you have to typecast it, then I have to use the star outside this to access the value. Okay, that's why we generally use, instead of void pointer, we use our actual pointer, and then we typecast here the void pointer into integer pointer. Okay, so since it is for integer variable, the memory is allocated for 10 integer variable, so p will be declared as int star. Okay, so this is the picture for malloc. This is the picture for malloc. Same will be written in case of calloc like this: int star typecasting, then calloc, then first argument is number of element 10, then size of each element, so size of int. Okay, so this is for calloc and this is for malloc. And in case of calloc, the picture will be like this. The picture will be like this: 1, 2 in this way up to 10, 0, 1, 2 up to 9. Same address, suppose. So this is the difference. See, the picture is also different for malloc and calloc. For calloc, it is already partitioned. The memory is already partitioned with 2 bytes long. Each partition is 2 bytes. But in case of malloc, it is not partitioned. It is a total memory allocated. The multiplication value of total memory will be allocated. So that's why in case of calloc, since it is already known that it is for integer and the partition is already done, so that's why in case of calloc, this integer variables, this locations are initialized with 0. But since in case of malloc, it is not partitions yet, so there are garbage value. So this is the basic difference between malloc and calloc. So what are the difference for malloc and calloc? So number one, malloc and there is calloc. So what are the difference? The first difference is malloc having one argument, calloc having two arguments. Correct? Malloc allocate memory as a whole. It allocate memory as a partitioned. Okay. In case of malloc, there will be garbage value. In case of calloc, the partitioned memories will be initialized with 0. So this is the basic three difference between malloc and calloc. Okay. So what is the use of malloc and calloc? To allocate memory dynamically. It means dynamically means after getting the number of elements, after getting the requirement, if we allocate the memory. See, in case of array, we have to declare the array like this, and then we are collecting how many elements. Then we are collecting how many elements? N. Suppose this value of n is 10, but although you have allocated 100, so there is a wastage. Okay. Similarly, suppose instead of 10, I enter the value of n as 100, say 120. So it can be considered as shortage because I have allocated 100. But if we allocate memory after getting the value of n using dynamic memory allocation like malloc or calloc, so malloc, it will be n into size of integer, and in case of calloc, it will be calloc n comma size of integer. Then there will be no wastage, no shortage. Okay, that's why this malloc and calloc function is very useful in case of dynamic memory allocation. So this is more useful to utilize your memory. Okay, but there is some basic difference, and according to that you have to use your malloc calloc function. So I'm not going to discuss further for this malloc calloc because this is all about malloc and calloc. You can use it and see, since it is returning some address, so you have to declare one pointer variable, and since the return type of malloc is void pointer, so you have to typecast it according to the pointer element, and then you can access it either like this or like this. Okay. Anything you can use, because we have seen these two are equivalent. In last class, we have seen these two are equivalent. Okay, very clear? So using this concept, you can use the malloc calloc function for say set of integer values or set of float values or set of other values. Okay, which is we also use array, but array is, since array is static, so it will be little bit difficult, and there may be some shortage or wastage condition in case of array, but in case of malloc calloc or dynamic memory allocation, there is no such condition. So this is the advantage of malloc and calloc or dynamic memory allocation, and this is another use of pointer variable. This is another use of pointer variable. Okay, so now suppose, so I can easily replace one array using one malloc function. Okay, now see, in case of array, what is unknown? If it is 1D, so array is 1D. So if it is 1D, what is unknown? Why we are using dynamic memory allocation? The unknown is number of elements. This is unknown. This number of elements number of elements, this is unknown. This is unknown. So in case of 2D array, the unknown is the size. What is unknown? The size. Okay. Now, if it is 2D array, if it is 2D array like this, integer a, say 10, 10. So how many unknowns? If we want to represent them using malloc-calloc, how many unknowns? There are 2 unknowns, correct? There are 2 unknowns. One is row size, another is column size. Is it clear? So if we want to represent a 2D array using dynamic memory allocation, then we have 2 different unknowns. One is row size, another is column size. Okay. Now, try to understand this. Suppose we already know among this 2 unknowns, that is row size and column size, we already know suppose the row size. That means, what is the meaning of this? We already know row size means how many, suppose for example, enter the name of 10 students. Just try to understand what I'm telling you. Enter the name of 10 students. So how I will store the name of 10 students? One student name itself is an 1D array. One student name itself is an 1D array. So I need to store 10 different student names. So I have to declare a 2D array. Am I clear? I hope it is clear. It is understood. That if I want to store the name of 10 students, since one student name itself is an 1D array, so if I want to store 10 students name, then I have to create a 2D array. Okay, logic clear? Now see, in this example, we know how many students. It means we know the number of rows. But the name of each student, they are not fixed size. It may happen one student name is AB, another student name is ABC, another student name is ABCD. So the student name is a variable length. So we don't know the column size. The column size is unknown. We know the row size. Here, for this particular example, we know the row size, but we don't know the column size. So column size is unknown to us. Logic clear? So if we face this type of problem, then we can use another interesting thing, which is called array of pointers. We can use array of pointers. Logic clear? Is it clear? Please, if you have any problem, please tell me. So when we are going for array of pointers, we are going for array of pointers if row size known but column size is unknown. So for 1D array, there is only one unknown. If we want to represent them in dynamic memory allocation, so we have to take the value from the user and then we can do it. But in case of 2D array, there are 2 unknowns. Now it may happen that in some situation you know one variable, means among the 2 unknowns, row size and column size, you know one unknown, but another unknown is not known. Then, so if row size is known and column size is not known or unknown, you can go for array of pointers. Now, this is the use of array of pointers, and very few books follow or tell that what is the use of array of pointers. So this is the use of array of pointers. Now try to understand what is array of pointers. So suppose we have 3 pointer variables. One is P, another is Q, another is M. So this 3 pointer variables, what is the use of 3 pointer variables? Obviously, there must be 3 different integer variables. There must be 3 different integer variables having 3 different addresses which are stored in these 3 variables P, Q, M. Am I clear? So it is obvious that if there are 3 different pointer variables, then there must be 3 different integer variables whose address are stored in this pointer variables. That's why we are using the pointer variables. It means P is pointing to X, Q is pointing to Y, and M is pointing to Z. Now see, here we are using same pointer variable. What is the type of the pointer variable? Int star is the type of the pointer variable. We are using same pointer variable again and again. Suppose we require 10 pointer variables. Then we have to declare P1, P2, P3, P4 like this. But there is one option for us. If we use similar type of thing again and again, we should go for array. So here we can replace this with an array. So it becomes, the picture will look like this: star P3. Is it clear? So instead of P, let us write it AP. Okay, 3. And what is the type? Integer. So this is the replacement of this multiple same type, means homogeneous. All are integer pointer. We are using all integer pointer again and again. So we can replace them using an array of pointers. So this is the meaning of array of pointers. Okay. So it means here P, Q, M, they are in separate memory location. They may be contiguous or may not. It depends. But if it is an array, then its picture will be like this. I should write it horizontally, but I'm drawing it vertically. So this is AP, this is 0, 1, 2. Okay. So suppose this P is this one. So ampersand X, am I clear? Address of X is stored here. This one ampersand Y, address of Y is stored here. This is ampersand Z. It means this is pointing to this is pointing to this, and this is pointing to this. If I want to access X using this array of pointer, then I will write it like this: AP0. Now AP0 means, what is AP0? AP0 means, remember, ampersand X. So if I put a star here, then I will get the value. Suppose this is 5. Then I will get the value. So this is the meaning of array of pointers. This is the meaning of array of pointers. Now for this particular problem, where I have to store 10 students' name, how we will define it? I will define it like this. At first, I will declare one character array of pointers, say name 10. Very clear? This is why I have taken character, because these are names, so character variable. So this is array of character. The name of the array is name, because I have to store, and because we already know we have to store 10 students' name, so I declared it like this. So this is the picture of the array. This is the picture of the array. like this, 0, 1, 2, up to 9. This is name. Okay. Then I will allocate one by one the name for I equal to 0, I less than 10. I already know the size, number of student. Okay. But I don't know I don't know the name size. This one, column is not known. Okay. So every time I will uh, allocate some memory. So if it is instead of student name, if it is a 2D array, so see after when I will run this for loop and store the name. So if I write it, it will be like this: scanf %s, then it is name I. So in this way I have to store. Okay. So ultimately this will create what? It will create the next student name, and the starting address is stored here, so it is pointing to this. Next student name, starting address is stored here, it will point to this. Next student name, starting address is stored here, it will point this. So see, ultimately this one is a 2D array. So ultimately we are creating 2D array. But when we are going for array of pointers, if there the row size is known, but column size is unknown. And obviously, if the reverse happen, means the row size unknown, but we know the column size. Column size is known. Okay. Then what? It means we know that there are say there are 10 say 5 subjects. We know there are 5 subjects for each student. There are 5 subjects for each student. Okay. But number of students not known. Not known. I have no idea about the number of students, because suppose this is an online form fill up is happening. Suppose online form fill up is happening. So we know that each student have to fill up 5 subjects. But I have no idea how many students will fill this form. Logic clear? So it means I know for each student 5 subject means I know the column size. But I have no idea about the row size. So row size here, row size is unknown. Logic clear? So for this type of problem, if this type of thing happens, then we have to go for then we have to go for pointer to an